You know, the beautiful thing about coming to a location is normally when we show up at a lodge, we get, 4 or 5 days of fishing. And the nice thing is here at Douglas Lake Ranch is we've got a combination of many different lakes to fish. You know, we've done Stony quite a few times. And we haven't been, oh, beautiful. And we haven't really been back to Minnie. So you know what? It's Minnie Lake today as we take you sport fishing on the fly. That's just beautiful. Always interesting starting a new day, trying to figure it out. You know, I'm looking at the water and a lot of people have asked us on the show, how do you start off on a lake? Well, we've got obviously advantages with fish finders now, depth finders. You can actually go and look for the fish. But again, we look for our traditional shoals, our weed beds, certain depth contours. I always look at a contour map of actually the lake that we're showing up at, so I kind of know the bays and the depths that we're going to be fishing at. But again, you know, end of May, you'll have some mayflies possibly starting to move pretty early for caddis. Usually really good for damsels, so damsels will start moving. And of course, the major hatches of chironomids. So I have my chrony box here. I've got, many things to pick from. I prefer these smaller ones in the springtime. I like small, and again, general rule of thumb with chironomids, start small in the spring and then get into that big bomber stage throughout the late spring and into summer. And then I've got this other box that has all my my different nymph patterns and a bunch of different attractors, mayflies and shrimp and damsels and all the rest. And I've elected, because I looked at the water and saw a couple of small damsels coming off. So I've got a little baby damsel. That's actually one of Brian Chan's little baby damsel patterns. So I'm going to start with that and see how it turns out. And I know the bulldog, well, it's pretty well classic. He's got the wet line, probably got a bulldog or a deep water attractor or some kind of other big pattern, searching pattern on. But we'll talk to him a little bit later. On the bomber. Wow. Oh. Well, I started with a mayfly nymph, and here's a big key again. If you don't have riffle on the water, mayflies, any kind of damselflies, all the rest of these kind of bugs you want to imitate, you need motion. You need something to carry that indicator. And of course, I love to wind drift. You know, you get a nice riffle on the water and you can wind drift them. If it goes dead calm like this, the strategy I always use is sink it down right to the bottom and I put on a big bomber. We know big chironomid bombers come off in these lakes, and before they emerge, they'll sit down right up about a foot off the bottom and they just sit there and wiggle. They've hatched from the bloodworm stage. And before they emerge, they all just pile up down there. And the fish will actually just swim around and gorge themselves on these big bombers and other chironomids that are ready to hatch in that pupal stage. And it's just probably about a week and a half before they really start emerging, and you don't see much of a hatch. Sink your fly right to the bottom and get into that phase. And that's what I did with this one. I tried the damsel for a while, nothing. I lost my wind completely. So my strategy is go right to the bottom. So I extended my leader right down to 13 feet. Put on my biggest bomber, a big chrome bomber, and got this guy first cast. Just let it drift for a little bit and picked him up. He's just a little guy, but you know, at least he ate it. Everybody can see I'll just move the indicator out of the way, but I'll show the fly in a minute. But normal chironomid hookup, this little guy, I let him go. And here's the bomber. And when I'm talking bombers, I'm talking big flies. You know, there it is there. It's one of my big, obviously UV material there on the head, the orange, big chrome body. And we're talking, you know, size 10 hooks, extra long. You want something big down there. So let's give it a go again. It's not a riffle on the water, dead calm condition. Again, I can extend it right out and start fishing the bottom. It's the only way. Oh, wow. That's a nice fish. Put on the little pumpkin head.
The pumpkin head?
Yeah, just something small because I wanted to imitate the damsel. You know, we came into this beautiful area and there's a lot of chrome fish feeding in here, and it's only shallow water. You know, we had a little ridge over here that was about 4 feet and just dropped into 10 feet. So we're casting up into that shallow water and bringing it through. And look at this guy, he's just a beautiful chrome bullet. Oh, that's a gorgeous fish. He will have to, he's net worthy.
He's net worthy.
He's definitely net worthy. Wow, that's a beauty. Right in the bottom lip, there it flies out. Oh, look at that, that's a nice chrome fish. You know, again, that kind of 18 to 20, but look at how fat he is. Oh yeah, you'll want to go. Great scrappy fish. And there he goes. Wow. And there's the little pumpkin head. So again, it imitates a variety of different things, but it's a little bit bigger, mature damsels. Could even pass for a mayfly nymph, but again, great little pattern. It's a good searching pattern. We've come to this flat and again, no hatches. You know, we've got no hatch, but at least we have a little riffle on the water. So we came into fairly shallow water. We got a nice little trench here. So it's shallow, 4 feet over here. Comes with a nice little dip to about 10 feet, and we're picking off fish. Not a bad thing. Oh, that's a chrome. Yeah, that's a nice fish.
A big chromer. He just slashed her.
That's not your fish. That's another fish. Oh. He's not happy. He's not happy.
Oh, and he's in the anchor rope, I think. Right in the corner though, eh?
Yeah. Wow, so not very big, but what a great scrap.
Yeah, nice
Wasn't
and
it?
chrome.
Oh, chrome, but what a scrap. He fought like a 12-pound fish. He just went nuts.
Grab that little tequila out of there. Just in the corner.
The deep water attractor.
There he is.
They've had to resort to deep water attractors. Oh, that's a gorgeous fish though. There he goes. Didn't even have to touch him. That's just beautiful. That's a nice way to do it. The deep water attractor. Yikes.
And I was just stopping there. He took it right dead. Floating.
Oh well, we'll keep working them. We know they're here.
Full of spunk.
The deep water tractor is working.
It is. I'm not even letting it go deep. Just starting to strip it right away. Of course, that line's a type 7, right? So buy some of these off the reel. This looks in good shape. Nice fish. Lots of spunk. Another nice little fish. Hey, that's about the regular size we've been.
Yeah.
But they sure got a lot of pep.
Yeah, a lot of chrome fish in here, which is beautiful. And there he goes. And there's nothing hatching. That's the big, big
kicker,
key.
and that's where you got to go to the attractors.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
strip them. That's the other key. Eh? They like it moving fast. It's just something to provoke the strike.
That's the
Because
tough
when
part.
they're off the hatch, they're off the hatch. No
That's
hatch.
it. I got to be consistent. I'm putting on my little chromie. Actually, I'm going to put on one that's a double rib chronomid that Brian ties. Usually works great. I've seen a few chronomids coming up, but not
Well, it's a
nothing
little
major.
bit of a tiny riff now. Anyway,
Ah.
that'll give you at least a prayer.
I can't go to the deep water tractor. I just can't do it. I'm going to try the chrony for a bit. Well, the indicator, nothing. Cannot get anything to move on the indicator. So, oh, jeez. Just when I say I can't get anything to move on the indicator, something hit it when I was reeling in. So obviously they want it moving. They don't want it hanging, they want it moving. Oh, that guy just ripped it. I just put the fish on there. Whoa! And that's a nice one.
Oh, that's a nice fish, too.
Oh, yeah, he's chrome. Chrome bullet.
Chrome and
Chrome. And fat. Yeah, just nice chrome bullet. You know, there's the pumpkin head. Just pops right out. I'll just hold this guy up with my hand. There he is there. Nice size fish. There he goes. The big bullet.
There's fish here.
There's fish here. Boy, and that's a nice
fish too, yeah. Right where you want them.
Oh, gee. Oh, and I just had one there. Man, lots of fish around.
They're all over him.
Boy, they're feeding right in this area. It's great. Great little area. Right in the corner of the lip, eh?
There he is.
There he is. Nice size. Just nice, our traditional little guys.
Out of the net. There he goes. Look at him.
There he is. Boy, we got a nice riffle on the water too.
A little bit.
I'm hoping to see a hatch because since we have a nice little chop here, we can actually wind drift some indicators through here if we get a hatch. But of course, we got to wait for the hatch. And I just had one. Just had a hit. There he is. Fish on. Whoa! Whoa! Oh! Oh! Off the boat. Holy cow! Oh! Oh! This is insane.
Wow.
What a spot.
Can't get the fly in.
Wow.
He's
Just
slammed
smoking.
it.
Oh,
Whoa.
smoking hot fish. Well, let's go to the bench and tie up the pumpkin head. You know, we've never really done that.
No, and the pumpkin head's a good attractor
Oh, it's
pattern.
a great attractor
Good one to
pattern.
use.
Just really good to use when there's damsels or small dragons, mayflies moving. It's a real good attractor. So let's go to the bench, tie up the pumpkin head. Today on the bench, we're going to tie you up the pumpkin head. This pattern was originally designed by John Kent, a well-known fly tyer in BC, so make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 14 2x long curved nymph, some 8/0 olive thread to tie with, some olive marabou as a tail, a 7/64 inch red glass bead as the bead, some burnt orange grizzly hackle for the hackle, and some UV2 olive sparkle yarn for the body. To start the fly off, I've got the thread wrapped on the hook. I'm going to take a clump of my marabou and make sure it's a nice clump. What I'm going to do is tie it in, and don't worry about the length because we're actually going to pull it to seal it up. And I go right behind my bead to fill in a bit of the gap behind the bead, then work my thread back to form a little bit of a body on the fly. And make sure you go around the back of the tail a couple times just to hold it up. Now that the tail's tied in, we want it to be a certain length, and I like it about the length of the body. So what I'm going to do is look back, make it about the same length, and then I'm just going to pull all this material off and just pull it with your fingers. And I want this fluffy stuff. I like the fluffy stuff on there to form the tail. Now that the tail's tied in and we've got a little bit of a body built up, I'm going to take a hackle, one of my burnt orange hackles, and you can actually tie it in by the butt and leave the whole hackle intact or strip off one side of it. A lot of my patterns I like to keep the hackle intact, but in this one here, I'm just going to take these materials and anything that's in the bottom, just those bottom fibers, I'm just going to strip it off because I want the hackle to be quite sparse on this fly. So I'm just taking off all the bottom barbels on the hackle, and then I'm going to tie it in to the back of the hook. Now the hackle's tied in, you have different options. You can actually leave the body that you've already formed with that marabou, which is a little bit thinner, or you can thicken it up in a bit. And I like to thicken it just a little bit with the sparkle yarn. It just gives it a real nice UV sparkle. So I'm just going to tie that at the back of the hook, right down where I tied in the hackle, move my thread forward, and then wrap that sparkle yarn up to form the body. And you can see it gives it a real nice sparkle to the body. Now the body's tied in, I'm going to take the hackle, and I like to use hackle pliers because these hackles are a little bit smaller, tougher to grab, and I'm going to go reverse order. So I'm laying the flat part of the hackle down onto the body so that the hackles stick out, and I like about 4 turns up and then a couple of turns at the head of the fly, and then we'll just tie it off near the head. And as I tie off, I just pull this hackle back. Just pull all the hackle back a bit and tie in a nice head on the fly. So to finish the fly off, I like to use my whip finisher. And a lot of people have requested that we actually show how to whip finish. So I'm going to go through this and show you how we do this. So what I'm going to do is take the thread and you actually just pull it so it's parallel to the plane that you're tying on. You hook your thread with your whip finisher, let the thread fall straight down again, hook it on the back of the whip finisher to form a triangle. You see it forms a triangle with the thread. Bring the tip around, catch the thread, pick up the thread as you come around, and just keep that triangle going for 1, 2, 3, 4 spins. Pull it straight up, unhook the bottom, pull your thread down, and unhook it. And that's the whip finish. So there it is, the finished pumpkin head. Where I found this fly to be the most effective is when you have damsel or mayfly nymphs on the move. Oh, got off a good release.
But that's a good, that was a nice fish.
That, like 20 jumps?
Well, he went off the side of the boat.
Hot fish.
The poor guy didn't even stun him.
On the technology today, I have the pleasure of being with Kathy Ruddick. And Kathy and Brian Chen do a fly fishing class every year. And I think it's been going for quite a while. So
Yeah.
how long has it been going for?
Well, a little bit longer than
Come
we
on,
care to
Kath.
admit. We've actually just did the math the other day, and
Yeah.
we think probably 20 to 25 years.
And it's, you know, it's a fantastic course because they do the beginner course and you also do beginner, intermediate, advanced. You do a
Yeah.
whole bunch of different courses.
Absolutely.
What are you doing? Like, what's it all about? Tell me what it's all about. What do you actually
Well,
show people?
our goal is to try and take people to a destination rather than just a simple classroom, one day where you're cramming all this information into your brain and you go home and look at your notes. Rather, go to a destination, enjoy a nice lodge like this, enjoy a nice location. And we teach you in small segments, like a couple hours at a time. We teach casting in the field, then we go out with people
That's
on the water. So everything you just absorbed in those last couple hours, now we get to go out there and practice what we've learned.
And the theory was very cool. You know, I sat in some of the theory and, you know, I learned the new knot.
The
you know?
Davy
The
knot.
There's
Yeah,
a bunch
yeah.
of really good theory that goes
Yeah.
with it. About chironomids, you know, Brian did his whole entomology
Yep.
thing, which is excellent. You did the really thorough on technique and technical side. Pretty enlightening.
It is, and it's what's really rewarding is when you can take a client or one of the participants at the school here, and they don't have a lot of background, or they've got some background, and all of a sudden you're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and they're saying, "Oh, I never knew why I did that. Now I understand why I'm doing that." So there's method to the madness of going out and fly fishing. So we can have an awful lot of fun doing that.
Well, congratulations on this. I mean, a very successful fly fishing course. Again, you've been doing it for a few years.
Years, yeah. I'd like to say I started when I was in
And I think
school.
in the future, you know what, we'll continue the still waters because I mean that's your expertise. But I mean you're an expert at ocean fishing, you're an expert at saltwater fishing, at rivers. I think we're gonna have to get some more courses going
I
on.
think so too. I've done courses before on rivers, and it's the same type of situation where we go to a destination river lodge and we again teach some theory, we explain bugs, we take you down to the water, we dig up mud and weeds and say this is what we're imitating, this is where fish live, rather than on a picture. Videos, DVDs, your television show is amazing. However, the hands-on part it's just the icing on the cake.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Don.
A little guy.
They're definitely cycling here, though.
Yeah, they are. Little jumper. Let's try to get this guy off. You know, whenever I'm using this type of line against short leaders, make sure you're not using really long leaders. So I'm just gonna button this guy, and there he goes. And what I mean by short leader is this. I've got the clear intermediate sink, and my clear intermediate sink starts here. So maximum I've got probably 6 feet, 6 to 7 feet. All I'm doing is running, you know, I've got a length here of 10-pound test. That's probably 5 feet long, 4 to 5 feet. And I've got another couple of feet off of more like 6 pounds, something lighter, 4 to 6 pound. And you can muscle the fish in a little bit more. And all I use is fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon, right, when you're fishing
Gotta have
wet,
fluorocarbon.
that's all you need. You gotta have fluorocarbon on there. It's stiffer line, doesn't stretch as much as mono, and it just works well. It's supposed to be, you know, transparent in the water. And it works good. Huh, how was about that?
Wow.
Wow, Well, you know, we only had so much time. We had to get back today. And we've got I've got a 6-hour drive. You've only got about an hour-long drive. But we came out for the morning. Was that a spectacular morning or what?
What is it ever? Just to beat the storm, and we just went in the little bay and just absolutely slayed them.
Just slayed them. And you know, when we first got out here, you know, it was on. We did venture a little bit. You know, we tried some other areas. I did try the indicator for a little bit, and the indicator, she no good.
No.
Right? We just had that dead calm conditions. We have a little bit of a riff now, but not much. So when you struggle with this, and if you don't have windy conditions or even chop on the water, a great thing to use is what we showed you today. Full sink and clear intermediate sink lines with attractor patterns. They're productive.
Yeah, well, you got to. When there's no hatches, you got to go to attractors, catch lots of fish.
And you still have fun. And that's
Exactly.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
Catching fish. So when you come out here, I want to thank the people at Douglas Lake Ranch. Again, they put us up. Great meals, great accommodation, just fantastic staff. So if you ever want a real good adventure, give Douglas Lake Ranch a call. You can stay at a 5-star essentially resort at Stony Lake, or you can just get a bunch of buddies together and bunk at Minnie Lake Resort. Right? It's quite nice, that whole little cabin area. And of course, I want to thank the Bulldog. Always good. And when you come out here, take care, conserve our waters, and we'll see you next time where we take you sport fishing on the fly. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.